Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all you netball lovers, welcome to another exciting episode of the Netball South Africa podcast. And you know, this is what we do every week. We get to bring netball people to tell their stories on this platform. And yet another day where we've got an interesting guest. She is one of the most successful coaches looking at South African netball, the most successful coach in the Telkom Netball League, and she is also the SPAR Proteas coach. I am talking about Coach Jenny van Dijk. Coach, it's such a great honor to have you on this couch, on this platform. Thank you so much and welcome to the Netball South Africa podcast.
Thank you. I'm quite excited about today. I think it's something a little bit different and looking forward to all the questions you're going to ask me today.
Promise I won't be hard. But this platform really, it's to tell the netball story, you know, because we don't have archives, and I think this is the best way for the netball community to get to know who Jenny is. I think let's just take it back. Who's Jenny? Where did you grow up? And your love for netball, what sparked it?
Well, I grew up right here in Pretoria, exactly in the area where I'm living currently. So I've always been in the Waverley area, and I went to Laerskool Valeria and Hoërskool Osmoed, and studied at the University of Pretoria. Fell in love with netball when I was in grade 1, grade 2, and absolutely loved my coach and loved playing sport, and I always preferred team sports above individual sports. So it was just really something that I fell in love with at a very young age.
Sure. So was there someone in your family that played netball before, or was it just something you fell in love with from grade 1 when you were at school?
Well, my mom played a little bit of netball. I think most of our moms and aunts and grandmas played netball or korfbal back in the day. So yes, no, definitely. I just loved sport from a very young age, and my dad was also quite athletic. So a lot of the talent I think came from that direction as well.
You mentioned korfbal. Did you ever play it?
Yes, I did. When we started playing netball, korfbal was still a thing. So I actually did represent Gauteng North. Back in the day, we were called Noord-Transvaal, you know. And so I played some korfbal as well. But I definitely love netball a little bit more.
So you mentioned your coach. What was it about your coach that just wanted you or inspired you more to play the sport that you just fell in love with?
Well, she was Juffrou Kloppers back in the day, and she was just always so happy to see us, and she was always teaching us new things and making the training sessions so much fun. So it was just something that I remember even at breaks we went to her class and we just wanted to hang around her. We just absolutely loved it. And even to this day I still talk to her daily, and I definitely want to invite her to one of the next test matches that we'll play.
Oh, that is so cute. Let's chat about your journey then as a player, because I know you represented South Africa. I think a lot of people don't know that you actually played netball and represented South Africa. Let's chat about that journey and your growth there.
Yes, even from a young age, under 13, I represented South Africa for the SA under 13 team. Played for the SA under 16 team, the SA under 19 team, SA under 21 team. Yeah. We missed out on the World Cup, but we played the African qualifiers, and I really enjoyed that. I was invited to the national camp as a national player when I was in grade 11. Me together with Leanne Zaki, and I remember back in the day it was big names like Desmarie Kotze and Floyd de Plooy that played in New Zealand eventually, and quite a lot of strong players, Ruski, and we got the opportunity to train with them, and I must say it was such an eye-opener because they were just throwing that ball so hard and just moving so fast, but it was such an important part for me to really understand how netball can be played. And so I've always represented South Africa and played for Gauteng North. Loved playing for Gauteng North, played for the Gauteng North senior ladies team, and even played a little bit of action netball back in the day, which is also something that I think is a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. Man, that is a lot. And you started at a young age, balancing netball, because I can see the love in your eyes for the sport. balancing it with education, how were you able to do it? But the support at home as well, what was that like?
The support at home was fantastic. They, between my mom and especially my mom and my dad, they always made sure that I could go on tour. They always made sure that they would find the money somewhere for me to go to national championships and to because it wasn't just netball, it was athletics, it was softball, it was korfball. All of it I really did excel in, and it's just because I absolutely loved sports so much. It's I want to say it's a balancing act, but I think it's something that you see often. The more you do it, the more you can do. And I think with there's a lot of players that I see today that they can juggle all of it. And it's important that you teach it to your children from a young age. But yes, I think for me, in matric I got those injuries, and I think thank goodness in hindsight, because otherwise I wouldn't have done so well in matric, because I was just didn't want to study, and university is such an important part of our netball program and your growth as a netball player. It's the next stepping stone for you. So, and also just to get an education, because one injury and your dream might be gone, and then you need to have a backup plan. And even if you're not injured, it's not to say that you'll make the 7 that will play, the 12 that will be on the court, and the 15 that would be the squad. So the competition, there's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of young talent coming through,
Yeah. What position did you play?
I loved the wing attack position. That was my favorite position. They loved to play me on centre as well. And sometimes I played goal attack. And when I represented South Africa for the first time under 13, I played goalkeeper because I was the tallest in the team. Yes, and as wing attack in my Tix team that I used to play for back in the day, I was the shortest almost, in the wing attack. So but definitely the wing attack. I absolutely love the creativity, the flair, the eye that you have into that circle, and you just need to, just with so little space, you need to create so much, and you just have to manage the attack for your team. So that was a position I truly loved.
Yeah. And then there were those injuries.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
At first, not good at all, I must say. It was terrible. I was never injured. And I could always just play. And in 1 week, I had 2 massive injuries. And I remember it just shook my world completely, because it was supposed to be my best year ever. It was my matric year. And all of a sudden, the second game into the season, I was out for the whole year. I couldn't play softball. I couldn't continue with athletics. I couldn't do netball. It was devastating. But my coach, Juffrou Olga Smith, she was also one of my most favorite people ever. And she was also a teacher at the school. And she immediately said to me, "You know what, Jenny? You can come in and help me coach the team. We don't want you to not be involved in the year." And ever since that time, I started loving the coaching part as well.
How did you, because there's a whole lot of focus now on mental sharpness, the challenges. A lot of athletes go through a lot mentally. How did you deal with that? Because I'm sure you were in matric, you've got exams to deal with, there's pressures of the sport that you love so much, you've never been injured before, and now you need to recover on all of that, or must accept that, hey, I'm injured, I can't do this, I must now really focus on school. Mentally, how did you deal with that?
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with the support structure you have around you. I have a fantastic best friend that's been my best friend ever since under 13, under 12, Natalie, and she didn't give me a lot of time to feel sorry for myself. I still had to go with her. She was our shooter. She wanted me to go train. She kept me involved in the process, which was fantastic. And to me, I don't think I handled it that well. It was devastating for me, and it's such a big injury, especially with your knees and with netball, that you almost kind of want to give up. But the one thing that I did realize is how much I love netball, and how it just became this drive within me to do the best I can with my recovery and with my rehab, so that I can make a big comeback. And that's where the university was also so great. They still gave me a bursary, even though I was injured that year, and I could go study, which wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for that bursary at that stage. And and they backed me, and then they assisted me with the right programs, and they helped me. And that was Tannie Louise du Plessis back in the day. She was also the national coach, the SPAR Proteas national coach back then, and they backed me. So and I just kept going, and I think if I removed myself completely, that would have been an issue. But because they didn't give up on me and they just said, no, we need you next to that court, we can't do it without you, it gave me purpose.
I'd like us to chat about, when it hit you that you can't play anymore. How do you then tap out of that space and still find positives that, hey, I may not be a player, but I can still be involved in the sport that I love?
I think it got to a point where every year I had 1 or 2 operations. In total, I had 7 operations, so I would go through a season, and then at the end of the season, I was in so much pain. And the weirdest part, and I think a lot of people can relate to it, when you are injured like that, when you play, you don't feel the injury because you warm up and you're so focused on the game. But before you start with the game and after the game, it's painful. It's so painful. And it got to a stage where I had to take so many different pain medications just to manage myself to be able to play. And it was tough, but I still wanted to play so badly. And then, it got to a stage where when I would pass the ball, my shoulder would pop, and it was just too painful. And just the one day I realized, it's devastating, and maybe I didn't reach my dream. But I also knew that the coaching part was going to come through for me, because I knew I had a good knowledge and understanding of the game. I'm quite analytical and strategic. So it was bittersweet. But I must say, after that, when I started coaching and I didn't have pain the whole time, it was also a relief, not having pain all the time, every day.
And then how did that journey then start? You now tapping into being a coach?
I finished my studies at the University of Pretoria, and then Elise Kotze, also one of the previous national coaches, she was the TICS 1 coach back in the day, and she asked me to come in and be the junior high performance coach, the under 19 coach. I started coaching the under 19s at TICS immediately after I finished my studies. And then I started becoming, I stepped in, the university gave me an opportunity to become the club manager. So I was actually doing a lot of administration, which I'm also quite good at. I love that part of sport as well. I prefer the pressure of coaching. But, and it gave me opportunity to sit on the bench and to listen to what she has to say to the players, and to understand the high performance environment and understand how things happen under pressure. And so she actually groomed me quite a lot to be able to take over from her. And when she became the national coach 2010, I remember it was the Football World Cup. And she was, then I took over from the TICS 1 team, I took over there. And even over the years, the Tswane president back then, Corin Strauss, and Rihanna Besaidenout over the years, all of them just backed me so much, and they gave me so many opportunities, and they just backed me and my crazy ideas all the time. So I've been privileged over the year to have great mentors, and it just sparked a lot of passion in coaching for me.
Yeah, and I can tell you're also just passionate about development, the development of players. I can count a number of players you've, spotted and developed within the national structures. Some have retired, some are still within. What is it about sports development for you, especially in that under 18, under 19?
It's fantastic to see a player, come to light and become the best that they can be. And, you look at a player and you see something special within that player. And the thing is, each player has something unique. And you can see how that would fit in with your plan. Because if all the players had the same type of uniqueness, or had the same type of strength, it wouldn't really make that much bigger difference in the game of netball if we had to make some substitutions. But to see how they have that something extra is important. And, especially if the intrinsic motivation of the player is there, and they want to make something of their life. I just can't help myself. I want to get involved, and I want to help that player. And, even now with us, with the national team, with the SPAR Proteas, wherever we go and when we do our workshops, we bring in all the junior national players. We bring in the Fast 5 players. We bring in the SAA team. We bring in our training partners, the President's 12 team, and for them to come and train with the Proteas in order for us to help them develop quicker. It's about a team effort all around that will make the big difference for us as a country as well.
How would you describe your journey as a university coach?
I loved it. I absolutely love that level, and I love what the thing is, if you go to university level of netball, everybody has talent. Talent is not the thing that's going to set you apart. It's hard work, it's discipline that's going to let you go the full mile. And that to me is such an important part. What I've come to understand is that even the most dedicated, passionate players with the most discipline also needs motivation from their coach and motivation around them. So, and I just absolutely love, because they are coachable, and they have big dreams, and they want to be a part of the process. And within the university system over the years, it's given me a platform to really operate as close as possible to professional in a sport as we had available to us,
Yeah, because, and I understand why you feel some sort of professionalism, because you get to work with the players on an almost daily basis.
Yes, and for me, that's the one thing that really made me the coach that I am today. I didn't have to go, and I didn't have a second career where I was a teacher and I had to be in school from 8 to 4 to 2 to 6 at night, and then get home, I could only focus on coaching. And that's what the university provided me with, the performance system at the university. And that really gave me a lot of additional time, where other coaches would have been just as great if they had the same opportunities as I had. So I hope that a lot more of them can get those opportunities going forward as well.
The rivalry between you and Coach Zanele, what was that like? How would you plan going into matches up against Smarties?
Oh, look, it was absolutely fantastic. And that's one of the most important aspects of developing as a coach as well, and growing as a coach as well. There's certain coaches or certain teams that might not be strong enough. So you focus a little bit more on your own strategy, and you focus a little bit more on your individual approach and your team approach. And then you get coaches and teams that's really competitive and strong, and you know that you have to go and watch those matches, analyze, and just understand the way they play to break down their tactics and strategies in order to get to a win. And that's the thing with Sanele. She's also sculpted me in becoming a great coach, just as I have, because we had to do our homework. I remember 2 years back when when we played against them in the semi-finals of Austin Netball. I always tell the story to the players. We sat for 4.5 hours that morning, me and the entire Turks team, to find the solutions to the problems they were going to give us in that semi-finals. It's a lot of time in front of a video.
It is.
For us to really understand what we're up against. But that's also, the quality information and that we got out of that session really helps us to develop as coaches as well. So we need each other to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, Coach, 4.5 hours. That sounds very long, especially for a coach like you, because I know you're big on analysis.
Yeah. Yeah, but then, and it's not as if you just watch the match and then you decide what's happening. The match gets broken down into all the smallest aspects of the game, all the center passes you can watch, only the center pass. You can watch only the circle feet. You can watch only the shots and where they've been taken from. You can watch only the defensive setups on a specific area, all the errors, the turnovers, So in order for you to really understand the game, when you break it down like that, a lot of the pattern and a team reveals itself to you. You get those connections and the links between players, and that's the fantastic part of really getting to understand a team, and that helps a team to know exactly what will happen next. The same way, we would do now as national coaches to prepare our players for Uganda, for Malawi, for New Zealand, Australia, and all of them.
Next chapter, TNL. You're a successful coach there, 5 successive titles. I think the first 2 years you got to the finals but didn't win.
First 3 years. Don't rub it in. It was terrible. The first 2 years we got to the finals, and in extended time we lost. The third year we just lost. From the beginning we were just down and we just never put up a fight. So yes, we had 3 silver medals. And then the fourth year we were driving to the Free State to play the finals there. And it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And I remember even the news article, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, with a picture of me.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one, I still have it.
Is it?
I still have it. And I remember that next season I said to the players, we either win the finals or we don't play in the finals. But we're not going to that finals this year if we're not going to win. And we trained in a different way, and because we were doing a lot of the right stuff. I mean, we were getting to the finals. And even to this day, the Gauteng Jaguars is the only team, even with Rocks taking over from me, Matthijs, they've also played in the finals.
Yes.
So it's fantastic to see that culture and that winning culture is still a big part of what happens there. I mean, Rocks used to be my assistant coach as well, so they're also doing a great job there.
Yeah. What would you say was your success secret in the TNL?
I think, again, we were in a privileged position where we could continue throughout as almost as close as possible to a professional setup. I won't say a professional team, because obviously the finances wasn't there, but we could continue with a professional setup even if the TNL finished off. So with a lot of the teams, the consistency of being able to train 12 months a year with the same team makes a big difference. And not all the teams have that ability. But also, understanding that playing in a finals is such an important part of forming you and shaping you as a top winning type of team. And that culture that you set there really prepares you for the future as well. So to us, it's always been so important to just play. I always tell them, just get me to the finals. If we get to the finals, we can win. So it's important for us as well. But I think, a lot of it's not just me, it's the type of players we recruited, it's the dedication of that players, it's the support structure around us that really made it easy for us to be able to perform. And a lot of hard work's going in between matches to make sure that our players knows exactly what they're up against, and to have a plan and to be able to execute that plan.
Winning 5 consecutive titles in the TNL, did you ever feel like I need a change now, it's time for more growth? Because winning 5 consecutive titles, what more can you win out of this?
Look, to me, I remember at our year-end function after the 5th win, we got all the Jaguars in of all the years.
Oh, nice.
And we had a big, massive party with all of them. And I remember telling them, now for the next 5 years. Because I was always inspired by Coach Wooden. Coach Wooden was American football coach. He was one of the, basketball coach. Okay. He was one of the most successful coaches ever, with so many consecutive wins. Okay. And he just won for years and years and years and years. And I always felt if he can win that, then we can do it as well, consecutively. And that was always a big part of it for us. So I remember even saying at that function, now we go for the next 5. We want to win 10 in a row. And that would have been such a fantastic opportunity. And then unfortunately, the path totally changed for me. I started becoming the under-21 coach. Yes. And obviously, not unfortunate, happy to be a national coach. Got the opportunity with Botswana, which really helped me. But I think NSA then realized that level I know how to do, and I've ticked all the boxes there. But on a national level, I needed the experience. And that was where they changed the plan for me. I wasn't too impressed in the beginning. But in hindsight, I'm happy, because that was where I needed the experience, is internationally.
Definitely. Chat under 21, you touched on them. You were working with them, building up to the Africa qualifiers. What was that like?
Oh, fantastic. A level of play, age group that I really love working with. I think they respond well. I think they are very coachable, and I think they have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And we truly worked hard, and it was such a good and special connection we had within our unit and within the squad. And also working with Precious and Tembo, my assistant coach back then, which now, this morning we were talking to each other, and we're already discussing ideas, because obviously they will be going with us to Jamaica. Yes. And we want to make sure that we get our under-21 team ready for everything as well. So yes, quite sad to have to leave them, but I'm happy with the progress they made and how well they did with the African qualifiers, and hopeful that they'll really give us some great results in the Junior World Cup around the corner.
Shame, because you left them just as they were about to play the Africa qualifiers. How did you feel just not being, on the bench when they were playing the qualifiers after just being with them for that time and preparing for the qualifiers?
Yeah, look, it's a part of the game. Obviously, I wanted to be on that bench. Obviously, with all the work we've done and what we have put in, I felt, I was concerned that it might cause problems for the team, but they were just fine without me. They won. So, that's the thing. Nobody's irreplaceable. Precious did a great job with that team. And, we had a lot of discussions behind the scenes because there's a trust relationship between me and her. And she understands that we're both working towards the same goal, just like me and Zanele. We want our country to do well and we're passionate about South Africa. So we're going to do what's best. And if it means involving me and asking me about combinations or about game plans, then we really communicate with each other quite a lot.
You've been involved in the national team setup in the back, right? Where you got to work with the previous coaches you've mentioned, and I can also just mention Coach Noma Plama as well. What was that like? Did you get a sense that, hi, this is me now preparing to be a national team coach while you were busy there behind the scenes?
Yes, definitely. But I was also thinking to myself, good luck to the coach that needs to take over from Norma Plummer. Because it's shoes that you have to fill. It's big shoes that you have to fill. I mean, she's just such an exceptional person, and she's so level-headed. And I've enjoyed everything working with them and the experience I gained behind the scenes. It has really given me quite a good starting position as coach as well. But yes, obviously the dream was always there to become the national coach. And at a stage I thought maybe it might not happen, but I always knew, it's such a strong purpose within my heart that if the opportunity would arise, then it was something that I was going to take and do my best to try to achieve that position and get to that position.
Noma Plama retires. There's an advert that Netball South Africa is looking for a coach. Does it hit you instantly that I need to apply for this job?
Definitely. I think the same day, even an hour later, my application was in.
An hour later?
Yes. I was already ready because I knew she was retiring. So I was just waiting for, and I already had my planning done and I was ready for my interview. If that same day they wanted to interview me, I would have been ready.
You already?
Yes.
Yeah. You, and I think from just that, we'll tap into you now going for that interview. But you're a big planner. You write things down. You're that precise on your day schedule and so forth. Is that how it's always been?
Yes. As a person, I'm not that meticulous. I'm not, in my normal day-to-day life, I'm not that organized and I'm not that precise. But I remember back in the day, I had a strength and conditioning coach that worked with me at Tix. And he said to me, his name was Valdo van Heerden. And Valdo, we actually grew up in the same church when we were children. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And he said to me, it's difficult for him to do anything if I don't have a plan and if I'm not organized. He needs to, and immediately I started understanding that I don't have the luxury not to be organized, not to be in control, not to be precise, not to have my periodization in plan, and not to plan well in advance. Even though it's not something that that comes natural to me, it is a skill that I taught myself and that I think I'm doing well now. It's not my most favorite skill, and sometimes I can become quite, I take long to get the planning done, but it's an important part of the process.
Yeah, no, I think I've picked that up. You're precise. Like if I say, Coach, 12:10, you're doing this, you're definitely there 5 minutes even before that. Yeah, so I think that is one thing I really appreciate about you. Let's chat about you now going for that interview. What goes through your head building up to that big day?
A lot of things went through my head. I remember pulling up a PowerPoint presentation with absolutely everything that I felt would become a part of my plan when I become the national coach, and making sure that we could break into. It by all means to me, I want to see this country really succeed, and I think we've got the talent, and I think, we've got the passion. But to me, it was just about laying absolutely all my ideas and everything that I believe in, putting it on paper for them. And I remember getting into that interview, and I said to them, okay, they had 20 questions that they needed to ask me. I said, okay, well, I did a presentation. Can I first do the presentation?
Okay.
And I did the presentation, and afterwards, I think I answered most of the questions they had for me in my presentation, which only left a few other questions for me to answer. And because it's something that I thought about a lot. So yes, it went well. It went well, and then we had to wait again. And then we was waiting. It was a long wait. So, we were waiting forever, and I thought, I don't know what's going to happen. And then I got the phone call. And I remember I was at my son's rugby match, and all of a sudden, I see the president on the line, and I answer, and I'm, hi, president, and whoops, my phone goes dead.
Yo. Battery died.
No. How does that even happen?
I
climbed in my car.
Is calling.
I didn't go there. I went fairly fast, and I drove back home and I plugged it in, and I made sure. And the moment it went on, I immediately phoned back, and she's like, how can you miss this? I'm like, I don't know how. Yes, can you imagine? But yes, then we had the conversation, and she said to me, and it was literally only the night before, she said to me, tomorrow morning at 9, you have to be at that hotel.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of time for me to think about anything else, but I luckily then obviously made a phone call to my mom and my best friend, and said, listen, it is what it is, but not allowed to tell anybody. And then, it happened.
Did you really cry for 3 hours?
Cry for 3 hours? No. Yes. I cried for 3. No, I didn't cry for 3 hours. I cried when they told me I couldn't be the Jaguars coach anymore. I was very emotional because I really loved the team. It wasn't quite for 3 hours, Madam President. But I was definitely so happy and overjoyed when I became the national coach. It was fantastic.
Did you tell your son?
Yes, I did.
And he understood what it all meant?
Yes, and now he's absolutely so proud. And, he gets mad at me if I don't drive with my Renault Capture and fetch him with it at school, because how can everybody know that I'm the national coach if I don't drive with my national car? So, no, he's very proud. And, he's so supportive. It's a lot of time away from home, especially, but it's something that he's used to. And I always just say, you need to make it worth it. If you're going to go away for a long time and your child's at home, you better come back, and you better be able to show him, listen, this is what we've done, this is what we've accomplished, we worked hard, this is how much improvement. And then one day they will understand, it was for the greater and the better cause, and for our country as well. So, and I think it teaches them a lot of resilience as well in the process.
Definitely a different setup compared to varsity, because you're not with your players all the time. I think 8 of them, the 15 you announced, overseas-based players. How did you work around that, just making sure that you do spend time with your players, you understand your players, building up to the SPAR Challenge that just ended?
Yes, it's difficult because obviously a lot of them, 8 of them played overseas, and the others were not in Pretoria in the same province. They were also scattered all over South Africa. So for us in that time, luckily all of them were playing at their clubs, and we knew we could monitor them. We've got an app that monitors them, and we know exactly what they do daily. But then the moment all of them arrived back here, we immediately made a plan between me and Zan to work remotely with them. So we always have our training camps, but we have a little bit of extra time so we can actually go to the players. And for the most of our players, most of them are in Gauteng, which gives me time 2 or 3 times a week. I do Pretoria, Joburg, and then 2 or 3 times a week we work together as a group, either in Pretoria or Joburg, because the players are scattered between the the area here, the Gauteng area, and we go to Free State. And when we do go to the Free State, we fly in the Western Cape players as well, because there's only 2 Western Cape players. So it's easy for us to bring them in as well and to work with them. So we've been traveling remotely and working not just with them, we also add the Fast 5 players and the Under 21 players and a few of the others, so that we can, so that we can get some extra quality time with them. And, that was the biggest change for me as a university coach. I was coaching almost every night of the week, was busy every weekend, then had all the national duties as well as selector and as Under 21 coach. I was hardly at home at night. And ever since I got appointed, now I'm at home at night. And it's actually such a blessing just to have that extra time with my son as well at night.
Yeah. You and Zan then start working together. What's that like from the beginning to now?
It was actually quite easy. We just flew in, and we connected from the start, and to her, she is head coach material as well. I mean, we've seen what she can do. It's not always easy for a head coach to become an assistant coach and to, obviously she's got good ideas as well. But I think we complement each other in that, to me, she's such a value to me that I don't mind her say, and I don't mind her also having a voice within the team. It's important because she's a specialist on the defense and I'm very good at the attack side. So and even to the other side, we can complement that situation as well. So I think, I think she might not have thought that I would give her that much time to talk and that much time to strategize, but I think she's enjoying it as well because she can be herself. And I just feel like what she's done on the defense the past few years with Marties, they've been a tough team to beat. And why not? If we know that she's so strong with that, why not give her a little bit more carte blanche when it comes to that?
I remember when that announcement was made. In fact, the day before, because it was announced that we're going to be announcing the coach the following day, social media was just going crazy. People were already saying that Netball South Africa needs to announce Jenny van Dijk as the coach, right? And then the following day, Jenny is announced and South Africa goes wild. Did you go through those comments? Did you see how people were excited that you are the new SPAR Proteas coach?
Yeah, look, no pressure. It was fantastic to see all the support. It was also difficult for me because, we've got so many great coaches in the country, and yes, I think I've done a lot to deserve the position, but a lot of other coaches also did a lot. So to me, I was looking at the other side and thinking about, at a stage I said to them, maybe we should slow this down a little bit now because, there's other coaches as well, and there's other people that's also now, in a position where it's not the best day for them to see all of that. But yes, I mean, it was great to see the support of all the people, and but I also think it was because of they saw we didn't skip a step. It was literally a product of the system. I'm a product of Netball South Africa, and they've groomed me into this position, and we did well over the years. So but it was nice. It was fantastic to see. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's chat now. You had your first training session or camp earlier in the year. Some players were around, some were not around. And then you finally have a camp where it's just everyone and it's game on. Everyone now is just counting down days to that SPAR challenge against Malawi. How were the preps then? Did you see that your plan and vision was coming alive?
Yes, definitely. And I think, the players buy in and they understand and to us, we sat through quite a lot of sessions during that first camp to really align our visions and to make sure that everything's aligned. So it was more of an alignment camp for us, and to understand that so to me, the buy-in of the players is more important than anything, because I can't just force my plan onto them. They need to understand why we want to do certain things, and I need to be realistic because a lot of them have a lot more experience than me. For the national team. So at the end of the day, we meeting each other halfway and really finding something so that all of us can buy in. It did happen. And I think to us, we made one thing clear, and that is that our mission is to always give the best that we can give and to always work towards a win. We always want to be in a position where if we hit the court, the plan is that we're pushing for the win. I'm not always saying it's going to be easy, and I'm not always saying we're going to be successful. We hope that we become more and more successful, but I do believe that we have the passion and the dedication of the players and the buy-in.
I remember we had that pre-tournament press conference, and you were like, we're winning this series 3-0. I'm like, yo, my coach is bold. And did you feel that you were putting pressure on you guys to really go for this 3-0 whitewash? Or what was the thinking around you now just putting it out there that we're going for that 3-0 win?
Well, that's what we should go for. We can't just say, yes, we'll be happy if we win one. We'll always try to push for a 3-0. Look, I must say, the media can be sneaky. They will give they'll ask the questions that put you in a position to have to say the big words at the end of the day. But to me, I felt it was something that's doable. I know even with our first camp, we had a detailed analysis. We knew what we were up against. We knew our fitness levels would be better, and it was a good start for us. So to me, yes, it's tricky when you play down in ranking because the expectation is that you have to win. If you play up, the hope is there that we can win. But it is still ranked higher than you, so it's a different type of so there's actually less pressure on you playing up than playing down, because playing down you put the pressure on yourself. You want to win. There's no way you cannot win against a team that's lower ranked than you, and that's what makes Uganda so hard to play. And at the end of the day, the top 7 or top 10 are strong teams to play against, and you need to work very hard and be very disciplined to play them.
Yeah, it's definitely a new era for Netball South Africa and the SPAR Proteas, with you and Coach Zanele there, Kanyisa, as the new captain. What are the conversations, besides, focusing on court and training, behind the scenes, what are the conversations amongst the team and how you just plan on being successful?
I think to a lot of them, they feel that being in a national team is the purpose that in their life that they knew they had. So they're working with purpose and they want to make a difference. And I think for us, we're realistic. We know nothing is impossible, but at the end of the day, we also know that none of the other countries are just sitting back and saying, "Ooh, let's give South Africa time to catch up." They're working hard, they're doing better and better. You saw New Zealand beat Australia, you saw England beat New Zealand beating, all of them beating each other. Jamaica is going to play against England soon enough. And at the end of the day, for us, it's a 7-year plan, because we understand, but our goal remains that we want to push for a semi-finals. If we can get into a semi-final spot, then at least, you feel the pressure that, and you can't simulate that type of pressure, semi-final, final matches pressure. And once you give yourself that opportunity, so that's a very important first goal for us. By all means, not an easy goal. You need to be meticulous and you need to be very disciplined. But that's what we're working towards.
Let's chat about your first test. First match. How was that for you? Because we were excited, and it wasn't just, it's the whole team. There's an Ane Retief as well that made her debut. Let's chat about that.
So the day before we had the media conference, and when we went home, I immediately told Casey, I said, now I feel the pressure. Now it's becoming a reality. All this long wait, everything, now I can feel. And that was the first time I could feel the butterflies. And I could feel, okay, this is now happening, it's real. And then that next morning, I woke up, we had our surface training. And when that surface training were done, I could feel that the team were ready. And immediately all the stress and all the anxiety just disappeared. And I knew we were going to have a good start. And, it was such a proud moment, especially singing the anthem for the first time as a national coach. That was really special. And, it was, I think, inside, it was really special, and it was just a dream come true. But the thing is, that's the one point is becoming the coach and getting my first cap. But the other part is we really want to be a successful unit, and we want to have successful campaigns. So to me, the work is far from done. And I always say it's not going to be just an upward straight curve. There's going to be ups and downs as we take this journey. Now it was easy enough because we won. So when you win, it's a happy camp. But once you're under pressure and it becomes difficult, and you're under pressure, it becomes a real different situation. And that's also important to manage.
You're all about sharing the knowledge that you have. You've mentioned just having coaching workshops and coaching clinics. How has that been going? Because I also know that there was some that you did as a webinar. How are you received by the netball community in terms of these coaching workshops and clinics?
I think everybody's enjoying it. We're still busy with the coaching workshops between me and Zan. We do the webinars, and there's still a few that it's something that's going to be ongoing. But to us, it's important that everybody understands our plan and starts working towards that and help us to work towards that. So it's not just about giving back to them, it's about them being in a position to give back to the national program because of the knowledge and the expertise. And to me, between me and Zan, we have a lot of knowledge, but there's a lot of coaches out there that understand South African netball and that can also contribute, and that's the discussions we've had with our director of coaches as well. It's not just about me and her, it's about all the coaches contributing and giving us the knowledge. And I think it's received well, and I think it's good for them to have an open door and to feel like they can have that connection with the national coaches.
Yeah, because the male champs, you were there as well, and you had sessions with the coaches. So I love the fact that you're not just focusing on the women, but you're including the men as well, because at the end of the day, it is netball.
Yes, definitely. And the males, they've just been doing so well. The Pumas, they've been getting more opportunities, and the skill level is insane,
Yeah.
And it's important. And at a stage, they were demotivated and there wasn't a lot happening for them, and now there's the opportunity of a fast five. There's the opportunity of an Africa Cup. They can travel with us there. So I think they're also in a better spot, and I'm happy that they're also getting the opportunities they deserve, and we need to use each other to prepare for those competitions. So it's a definite step in the right direction for me.
Yeah, completely. Are we likely to see some matches between the SPAR Proteas and the men?
Yes, that is the plan. The plan is that in preparation for the Africa Cup in December, we'll go into camp at SPAR National Championships. Both of us the plan is, we're still busy confirming, that we go into camp, that we train, and that we're there for the SPAR Champs, even though we can't play in the SPAR Champs, that we are visible, and that we train there, and then hopefully we can have 1 or 2 matches against the males in preparation for the Africa Cup the next week in Swakopmund.
Overall, how do you feel looking at the performance on court? Just wrapping up SPAR Challenge.
I think the standard is not where it can be. I think, we started strong. Our second game, Malawi came back, all guns blazing, and they really gave us a good go in the first half of the game. The quality and standard were better. I think the third game, we became it became loose, and, we were a little bit more undisciplined. I know this team has got the potential to really carry a very high standard of play, and I know that we can trust them with that. And I think the more we understand and the more we get to know each other, the more that will start to show. So if I say I'm happy with the standard, it won't be accurate. I think we'll always push for a better standard, because we're not just working to play 1 or 2 matches against 1 or 2 teams. We want to become the best of the best, and that takes a whole different standard to get that done.
Yeah, definitely. And on a lighter note, I know you love netball, but you've got so much love for your son, CJ. How are you enjoying motherhood?
Oh, I'm loving every single moment of it. I see so much of him in me.
And the voice.
Yes, and the voice. Everybody was saying the voice. And definitely. And, he's just such a determined young boy. And he's He loves sport, and he loves football, and he loves rugby and cricket, and he plays golf. And
Man.
even the other day, he was shooting hoops for basketball,
What?
and then he took the ball and he said now he wants to practice to do some netball
Man.
shots. He just wants to play sport. And so, yeah, actually, he's actually playing for a football club now, and for a rugby club and a cricket club. So, yeah, he's keeping us busy, very busy.
Yeah.
But I think, he's just amazing young boy, and I'm privileged to be his mom.
Coach, like your eyes just glow up when you talk about him. And
Yes, because it took forever just to get him. It's like our little blessing. It took 7 years to make that little masterpiece, So yes, it lights up. I'm happy I have a child.
Man, Coach, I honestly wish we had more time, but thank you so much, for making the time and being a part of this journey. But I'd like to wish you all the best of luck. We're super proud of how you started, and we're just excited for the future of the SPAR Proteas. We're seeing bigger things coming. Thank you so much. And yeah, man, all the best, Coach.
Thank you, and thank you for all the support out there. And we rely on your support. We won't have any more home games this year, but next year we're planning to have some great matches coming up, and we need your support because you give us that little bit of extra energy when we really need it. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and that is how we come to the end of the Netball South Africa podcast episode with the phenomenal coach, Jenny van Dijk. Till we do it again next time, it's a wrap.